What's up, guys? It's Carrington, and you guys are catching me today in a 2024 Mercedes S63 AMG E-Performance, which is pretty much Mercedes' newest version of the AMG S-Class. This being a plug-in hybrid with 1,055 pound-feet of torque and over 790 horsepower. So this is going to be a very interesting vehicle, considering that my dad himself has a few generations back of an S-Class, not the AMG. So it's interesting to see how Mercedes have tuned things and updated things with time and technology. And one of the first things I can instantly tell is the turning radius is so much more helped by rear wheel steer, which my dad's S-Class does not have. And so that 100% makes the turning radius a lot more sharper. And overall, you guys can tell that the steering ratio itself is pretty sharp, just off center right there, which my dad's S-Class obviously is not going to be like that. And so these are just some of the first things that I notice off bat. I really do enjoy this 3D digital tachometer, which is something you don't get in previous S-Class models. And you guys can tell this is a hybrid, so when it will stop, it'll turn the motor off, obviously, which is typically the function with auto start stop, but since this is a hybrid, you don't really get that option to turn that off. Setting off, and the ride quality so far in this S-Class is for sure comfortable, but you definitely can tell that you feel a little bit more through the suspension compared to other S-Class models, which is thanks to the AMG suspension. You can change the individual suspension settings here on the infotainment screen. Plenty of torque. You get that V8 soundtrack, even though I can tell a little bit is pumped in through the speakers, but that's not an issue. Look at that turn in, guys. Plenty of torque to get you where you need to go. It doesn't necessarily feel like 1,000 pound-feet of torque. I know this battery is pretty low, so maybe that's why. However, there's plenty of torque to get you where you need to go. And you get the pops and crackles like you would on any AMG. But everything is really, really well insulated. You can barely hear that exhaust tone. You are more hearing the engine note with the pumped in audio. However, I'm pretty sure if you lower the window, you'll be able to hear a little bit more of that exhaust tone. Wow, this definitely does not feel its weight, which I don't know the exact weight figure, but it does not feel like a heavy car just from kind of driving it normally around town. That is obviously because of the rear wheel steering as well, but I just figured I'd note that. Just so you guys know, this has a 9-speed MCT transmission, which is not going to shift as aggressively as it would in other units like in the AMG GT. However, the shifts are still pretty quick. Yeah, it happens pretty quick. It's just not as kind of punchy as you would get in the more sportier products from Mercedes. This also has AMG 4MATIC, so you're gonna be confident driving this in all weather conditions. Smooth power delivery. And because of those electric motors, you don't really have to wait for the turbos to spool up before you're being pushed forward, which is a really, really wonderful thing, because these Mercedes motors, although they are hot V turbo setups, they do have a little bit of turbo lag, which is notable. And so you kind of get rid of all of that when you add this hybridization to it. Steering, again, it's direct, not much feel whatsoever through the wheel. However, I wouldn't say you're unconfident in where the vehicle is placed. It's just you don't get that bit of feedback, which you're not expecting in an S-Class, obviously, regardless of whether it's an S63 or not. But it is a better steering feel than what's in the normal non-AMG Mercedes S-Class. So yeah, guys, oh wow, look at that. That rear wheel steering just helps it out really, really well. Oh yeah, guys, apparently there is a full EV mode, which we're in right now, electric, which obviously there's no combustion engine going on here. But you can obviously switch that with this button here, of course. Yeah, obviously, so this isn't going to give you the same type of confidence in a sedan as the AMG GT 4-door would. That's not the purpose of this. You're going to get a lot more luxuries in this car than you would in that car. So you'll have much better rear seating amenities as well as driver aids and things like that. Only problem with this car is there's just so much performance to be had. You're really not going to be able to use all of it or wring it out on the street, but for a few seconds. And that's the issue with 700 plus horsepower cars with all of this torque. It's just nowhere to use it on the street. And so, yeah, while it's nice to have a really, really fast, capable S-Class, are you going to really be using all of this power on a daily basis? Probably not. However, a lot of people are still going to want that AMG package because of the exhaust and all of the other various features, Sport Plus mode and things like that, that you wouldn't get on the normal S-Class. So yeah, guys, that's the video, the 2024 S63 AMG e-Performance. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel as we continue to do more and more reviews like this. We have very interesting vehicles coming up on the channel, so you won't want to miss it. Stay tuned, guys.